ABC Listen. Podcasts, radio, news, music, and more.
Yeah, even that 2 minute, I was like, yeah, we're good. We're going to go down and score, and don't worry about it, boys. But I think that's part of it, being the old guy, having a lot of gray in your beard, is they expect things from you, and it's nice to be able to deliver in moments like that.
42-year-old ayahuasca enthusiast / conspiracy theorist / legendary QB Aaron Rodgers, as he readies for another Hollywood chapter in the movie that is his sporting life. The Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback is just one storyline out of a playoffs picture rich with them. There's America's sweetheart, Buffalo's Josh Allen, trying to channel universal appreciation into glory. There's Jacksonville's Trevor Lawrence, so beloved by his teammates they made him a custom bejeweled grill for his teeth. Yep, the NFL playoffs are a treasure trove of stories, and we are basking in the glow of that treasure. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily. Phil Murphy covers the NFL for ESPN. He's going to guide us through the playoff picture as the postseason heats up this coming weekend. We're going to start with the American Football Conference, flip to the National Football Conference. Phil, got to start with Aaron Rodgers. Whether it's his love of psychedelics or his capacity to play elite-level football age 42, there's nothing conventional about this QB, and his career has felt like a movie at times. Just how happy might the ending be for him and the Pittsburgh Steelers?
Well, I think the gold standard for the yellow and black, on our side at least, is a championship. I don't think that's realistic for this team, but for Aaron Rodgers to come in year one, and somebody who you said, he's a little bit enigmatic. I mean, heck, he has a Netflix doco called Enigma. I mean, that's just who he is. He galvanized this locker room, and there's a contagious belief when he gets off the bus with the team that on any given day he can resurrect the greatness of yesteryear. This is a guy who turned 42 years old in December. He's a 4-time MVP. If you were to take that 5-year, 6-year window in which he won those MVPs, you could put those up against anybody, Tom Brady included, in terms of regular season performance and statistical greatness. And you can make a cogent argument that Aaron Rodgers' stretch there is superior. He's not that quarterback anymore. Doesn't have the same arm strength, doesn't quite have the same mobility. We saw that in the win over the Ravens. A couple times he was flushed out of the pocket, and a younger Rodgers might have run for 12 or 15 yards. He went for 2 yards and stepped out of bounds. But the game-winning touchdown pass to Calvin Austin in the final minute, which ultimately proved the game-winning score.
Rodgers protected, throws to Austin for the touchdown!
Yeah, there's still a little bit of magic left in his arm. And the great thing for him is his best receiving option, DK Metcalf, who had been serving a 2-game ban for an interaction with a fan, an aggressive interaction with a fan in Detroit, will return for this wild card round. So Rodgers has his favorite target back. 25 of his 26 touchdowns for the season have come with Metcalf on the field.
They're coming off a 6-for-6 drive. He'll throw to begin this drive, and it's DK Metcalf. He's in the loose. There goes DK. A block from Austin. Inside the 5. Into the end zone. 80-yard touchdown. Rodgers to Metcalf.
So that's a big piece for them. But it's going to be a cold, windy night in western Pennsylvania. I would be there freezing my butt off on the sideline. And you have an indoor team, a dome team, and the Texans coming to town. And in the NFL playoffs, I could sit here and tell you, the Steelers don't have a shot. But it really is survive and advance one game at a time. And just given the conditions and the experience of the quarterback, you have to like the Steelers' odds in this round, and then we'll see where we go from there.
If Rodgers is towards the end of his career, Josh Allen feels like he's in his prime, and he feels almost universally adored. I mean, his coach explained just how adored in a recent press conference.
We want to pull out the family scrapbook, and we can just sit down and kind of kumbaya and just page through every one of Josh's days and the journey here. It's you described it. He's a real human. The human side to Josh Allen is, I also believe, what endears him to this community, because he's real, and I think that's refreshing in the day and age of role models in the sports industry.
Why is the Buffalo quarterback getting such adulation right now?
Well, I think part of it is he does have a really outgoing personality. He's extremely active in the community. In fact, he goes to a local children's hospital in Western New York near Buffalo's home stadium, and he lets the kids there design the apparel that he wears to the stadium. But then he auctions that off, and then the money goes all to the children's hospital. He and his wife are incredibly generous.
I get a box at my locker every Saturday, and I get to open that and see what has been designed by these kids.
You mentioned it, just the on-field product. He's in his prime. He's turns 30 this summer, I believe, Northern Summer. So May, he'll be 30. He's the reigning MVP. And everybody loves a good underdog story. This is a kid, when he was in high school, he was not a heralded recruit. He wasn't somebody who we thought, oh, he's destined for greatness. He had no offers. He had to sit there and mail his tape out to college coaches to say, please give me a shot. And he goes to the University of Wyoming in Laramie in the middle of nowhere. And he went there and he showcased an ability that was enough to get him drafted in the first round. And now he's with the Bills, who themselves are a perpetual underdog story. This is a team that famously, there's another doco called The Four Falls of Buffalo. And it chronicles how this team went to 4 straight Super Bowls, which is an incredible accomplishment, and they lost them all. And Josh Allen now is the face of it. And whilst the Bills are the 6th seed in the AFC, which means it's very likely they're going to have 3 road wins to get there on any given game day, with Josh Allen, their ceiling is as high as anybody in the AFC. They're not a team without flaws, but the most important position in the sport, they have somebody who you could make a cogent argument is the best player in the sport today, and that gives them a fighting chance. It is a very intriguing game for them in the first round in Jacksonville.
Speaking of Jacksonville, we know they love their quarterback. They made him a grill to show their appreciation.
Trevor, because it's fun, we appreciate you so much for everything you do. I just want you to know all of Jacksonville behind you. We know it's a meme that's kind of going viral, so we got your own video.
Can Trevor Lawrence and his mob push for more jewelry? I'm talking about Super Bowl rings.
Listen, if they had a different logo on the helmet, I think a lot more people would be picking the Jags to make a run. This is one of the smallest markets in the U.S. It is a team that a franchise that has never been to a Super Bowl. Forget not winning one like Buffalo. The Jags have never made it to that point. In fact, they've only been on the doorstep in an AFC title game twice in their team's history. And it's a short history. They've been around since the mid-'90s. But it's a team that, if not for that profile, they'd be getting a lot more buzz. Trevor Lawrence, we have a stat at ESPN called QBR. Trevor Lawrence, since the start of December, has the best QBR in the NFL. The Jags have the best run defense in the NFL. They run a really creative offense, and they've gone through and they've been proven. They went to Denver. They're the only team to beat the 1-seed Broncos on the road this season. They went to Denver and beat them by 2 touchdowns.
First and goal. Lawrence will keep. Lawrence will walk in, and the Jaguars lead once more. This is just too easy.
And so the Jags have a tough out in the first round against the Bills, but I think whoever comes out of that game has a real shot. And you talk about Trevor Lawrence. He is that kid who we all thought was going to be a terrific recruit coming out, a 5-star prospect, goes to Clemson, contending for a national championship at the collegiate level, drafted number 1 overall. He's got the looks, he's got the long blonde hair, he's got the personality. And there was a video, you mentioned the grill his teammates got him after the division title. There's a video recently. He went out to a local establishment, with some of his teammates this week. And a young lady there, she came up to him and asked if she could squat him, if she could put him on her back and do squats. But Trevor Lawrence is 6'6". I know the metric weight. He's bang on 100 kilos. He's not a small dude. And everybody in Jacksonville is holding their breath, put him in bubble wrap. But he's a man of the people.
So, video going viral of you getting squatted at a bar. Was that on your bucket list for 2026?
Yep, it's done. So we can all move on now. I know you guys were worried about it, but yeah, it's pretty just having a good time, I guess. I don't know how else to describe this. I did not think that was going to happen. So
this is a franchise that for years they were threatened to perhaps move to London. They're playing multiple games each year in London, but they've really established North Florida as a home. And listen, if they end up themselves getting a couple wins in a Super Bowl, I think they're here to stay. And then we can, forget the stigma of a small market team.
In the National Football Conference, Australians, we're drawn to the defending champs because of Jordan Mailata, the only Australian sort of getting it done in terms of on-field, non-kicking capacity. Have we seen enough to suggest they can go back-to-back?
Well, they can. There are a lot of questions with that team, and it has to do with the offense. And it's not on Jordan at all. He's having a terrific season. The other bookend offensive lineman, Lane Johnson, has been up and down with injury. It's a night and day operation with his presence or absence in the run game and its success. I think their first round matchup against the 49ers is favorable in that regard. San Francisco has a litany of injuries, but there have been some play calling concerns and some predictable formations. One of our great analysts, Dan Orlovsky, who I think is brilliant, he was able to point out through the first 3 weeks, pre-snap, they would line up the team would line up a certain way offensively, and you'd be able to tell straight away run or pass because they were that predictable. Their play caller last year, Kellen Moore, left the Eagles after the championship and went to the Saints. Jordan Mailata's viral line of, "We're not defending bleep."
We're not the defending champs, but the 2024 world champs, that's it. We're not defending Sorry, we're not. So I don't like hearing like, oh, we're the defending champions. We're not defending nothing. We just won the title. And now we've got to go win it again. Prove it all over again. And that's the mentality this team is going to have.
It does ring true. You do have to start from scratch in a way. And I think that's a healthy mindset to have. And I think it's why the Eagles are the 3 seed in the NFC. It's not a season to be ashamed of. It's just there are some questions still with offensive play calling. Defensively, I don't think there are many questions. They're a very well-coached unit, an operationally sound unit. And there's a saying in the NFL that defense travels. And if you're a team that has a great defense, even if you're going to a hostile road environment like Chicago or Seattle, which are 2 potential future rounds for the Eagles if they can get past the 49ers this weekend, then their defense can keep them in any game because they're that talented and that well coached. And you mentioned, Jordan's perhaps the only non-punter, non-specialist getting it done. That pipeline is wide open. Patrick, I think if you and I are having this conversation 5 years from now, there are going to be 5 to 10 names worth knowing, young Australian men and some kids from New Zealand and Tonga and around there.
The top seed in this conference is the Seattle Seahawks and their quarterback, Sam Darnold. Who do you see as the biggest threat to the Seahawks?
I would say the Rams. And I only say that because I was at their game in week 16. It was Thursday night locally, Friday morning by you. I mean, the stadium was shaking. Lumen Field, it's actually built to withstand seismic activity, just because there is some in the Pacific Northwest. So the stadium has to give to it. So when the crowd starts jumping and shaking, the stadium actually sways. It's kind of an unsettling feeling. Well, in that game, the Rams were up 30-14 with 5 minutes left. That game's done and dusted. And then Seattle just put together a miraculous final 5 minutes.
Darnold throws, caught for the 2 points. Eric Saubert. They throw to a guy who hadn't made a catch or was targeted all night long. What a game.
A deserved celebration for them. But that's the difference in them being the division champs and division runners-up. And I watched that game for 60 minutes, and the Rams were the better team for 55 minutes in Seattle. If that performance is replicated in a couple weeks' time, or next week, I'd have a hard time not tipping the Rams to repeat that performance because it was so recent. It was only, at that point, 4 weeks removed from what we saw. But that said, Seattle, on any given game day, they have my vote for the best defense in the NFL. I know Sam Darnold is the face of the team as the quarterback, but their defense is tall, long, fast, ball-hawking, violent, all the things that you would want in an NFL gridiron defense. They have. And then, yes, the great equalizer, the 12th man, they have the 12s flying high. That stadium is deafening. They make it very, very difficult for an opposing team to operate. So I don't think many teams can go in there and get a win, but I think the Rams are on the short list.
It's going to be an enthralling playoff series. Phil Murphy from ESPN, thanks for pulling it apart. Appreciate you.
Always a pleasure. Chat to you soon.
Soundbites. Snoop Dogg is a man comfortable behind a mic, but did you know he's also got commentary chops?
Steve banging Inglewood right now. Inglewood, get him, Steve. You in Inglewood, Steve? The Arizona Wildcat that came out and look at it.
AFL Grand Final performance last year. Commentator this year, sky's the limit for Snoop Dogg. Tottenham coach Thomas Frank came under fire this week after he was spotted having a coffee out of a mug with another team's logo on it. And not just any team, arch rival Arsenal. He was asked about the blunder and he was not going to bite.
I think we're definitely going the wrong direction if we need to worry about that me having a cup with another logo of another club. Well, of course I will never do that. That's extremely stupid.
Sometimes you just really need a coffee, no matter what mug it comes in. Speaking of having a drink, the Australian cricket team wrapped up the Ashes, and so questions quickly turned to the post-season celebrations. Travis Head was asked whether he was in charge, and he was happy to handball.
Sydney, I was with Adelaide, and I saw it was a pretty good party in Adelaide. Don't worry about that. Sydney should be the Sydney Siders should organise it, but I reckon Slug's got a twinkle in his eye, and Inglis. I've got to watch out for him tonight, so yeah.
Would love to have been a fly on the wall. I'm Patrick Stack. This is ABC Sport Daily, produced by Bobby Penny. Thanks to NBC, the Steelers, ESPN, the Jaguars, Fox Sports US, Prime Video, and Peacock for the extra audio used in this episode.
Discover more great ABC podcasts, live radio, and exclusives on the ABC Listen app.